Over the years, Nintendo has been known to get their money's worth for their classic games, and with the recent Nintendo 64 online drama, that isn't really viewed as a respected approach these days. With that being said, there is still a variety of classic Nintendo games that could really benefit from a simple remaster. Here's the 6 Nintendo games that are best suited for a remaster. First off, Super Metroid. To this day, this Super Nintendo classic is still considered as one of the greatest video games of all time. Now, with the recent success of Game of the Year candidate Metroid Dread, it would be interesting to see Nintendo and Mercury Steam take their own stab at modernizing what may be the franchise's most popular title. It wouldn't have to be just updated graphics, but some new mechanics and some new areas would certainly be appreciated as well, similar to how the NES Metroid was loosely remastered and updated into Metroid Zero Mission. After the waves that Metroid Dread just made, as far as I'm concerned, it makes complete sense for Metroid to strike again while the iron's hot. Next up, Super Mario 64. It's ridiculous how relevant this game still is so many years later, with speedrunners still seeking ways to improve their times and world records being updated quite frequently. A Mario 64 remaster with the beautiful aesthetic of Super Mario Odyssey would certainly create a whirlwind of hype within the gaming community. But if they say took the famous 120 stars and increased it to about 150, then many Nintendo fans' heads might actually explode. It's probably unlikely, considering how the same Mario development team is probably preoccupied with Super Mario Odyssey 2. But still, if there was some way to make it happen, I would certainly love to see it. Next is F-Zero GX. Honestly, even just a ported GameCube version onto the Nintendo Switch would be a sight for sore eyes, considering how this franchise has been completely dormant since 2004. The game is fast, beautiful, and an exhilarating thrill ride that separates the men from the boys with its extreme levels of difficulty. With enhanced modern graphics and with online play, a remastered version of GX could be the most exciting F-Zero experience that the fanbase has ever had. In 2007, Shigeru Miyamoto said that F-Zero's past collaborations with outside development houses turned out to be a disappointment for Nintendo. He also stated, consumers got very excited about the idea of those games, but the games themselves did not deliver. Concerning video games, this has to be one of the saddest statements I've ever heard, since F-Zero GX was developed by Sega and is my favorite racing game of all time. But I understand Miyamoto's perspective since the game did not sell very well. Due to his stance on the game, it's very unlikely the GX ever gets the love and attention it deserves with the remaster. Fourth on the list is Kid Icarus Uprising. It's a game franchise with a long history that's based on Greek mythology. Uprising is the latest addition in the series and was released in 2012 on the Nintendo 3DS. This one especially was an underrated game with an intriguing story and a remarkable soundtrack that left many fans begging for more. It was a complete transformation from its predecessors, but in a good way, and with a lore as vast and deep as Greek mythology, there's definitely many things that can be done to expand upon the universe. Given the fact that this was a critically acclaimed game with only handheld level graphics, it's certainly one that could benefit with a remaster on the Nintendo Switch. Next is the Metroid Prime Trilogy. It's one of the more obvious choices for a list like this, considering how it's currently in extremely high demand with the anticipation building for Metroid Prime 4, and considering how it's one of the most critically acclaimed trilogies of video game history. The graphics of the Metroid Prime games are still incredibly beautiful, even as many as 19 years later, but regardless, they could still benefit from some modern graphical enhancements. Rumor has it that this trilogy is an already completed project, and apparently Nintendo is just sitting on it until the perfect opportunity comes to release it. If that's true, I imagine they're saving it for whenever they reveal the first trailer for Metroid Prime 4. Fingers crossed that this is in fact on its way. Last on my list is Banjo-Kazooie from the Nintendo 64. It's one of the most famous and fondly remembered games from the late 1990s, but with its thrilling sense of adventure and with its very dated graphics, it could certainly benefit from a modern remaster. There's even some incredibly appealing trailers on YouTube of a remastered game created by fans. The most difficult part of a Nintendo Switch remaster is probably the logistics to make it work, since Rare Studios is now owned by Microsoft. With that being said, it was recent history when Banjo and Kazooie joined the fight in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So if they can agree on the terms, maybe it's possible to get a remaster on a Nintendo console after all. Maybe it would even be available on both Xbox and Nintendo, and it would only be the Sony fanboys who miss out on all the fun. Given the glimpses of what's possible from the fans' creations, I'm really hoping this one becomes a reality eventually. So what classic Nintendo games would you like to see remastered? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Nintendo content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.